Alright guys, welcome back. Today is day 8 and I'm really excited about this day because we are going to be creating the top menu bar. I know a lot of you people have been waiting for that because for any kind of window, a menu bar is a pretty important thing, right? Because it kind of gives you an idea what this software is about, and you can do a lot of different things using the menu bar. But let's recap what we did in the last video. We actually created this volume control scale widget using which we can control the volume of a music player. The one thing that I forgot to do in the last video was if I scroll down below, after I set the default value to 70, one thing I also have to do is actually set the value to 70. So right now it's just showing on the scale widget that the value is 70. So if I run this again, let me run this main.py file again. So even though it's showing that the default value is 70, the volume has not been set to actually 70. It's still the default value in behind the scenes until we change the value and this set_volume function goes into action. So what we need to do is I'm just going to copy this mixer.setVolume function and I'm just going to paste it under the scale.set. And over here I'm just going to write 70, and yeah, that should as soon as we start a music player, this should set the volume to 70 automatically. So I'm just going to run it again, although nothing is going to happen because I'm not going to play the music again, but yeah, I just wanted to point this one thing out. Anyways, let's get started with today's video, and that is creating a top menu bar like in a lot of softwares you must have seen. So for example, in PyCharm, you can see this is a top, let's call it a top bar. Let's not call it a menu bar because there is a there's a differentiation between those two. Those two things are really different. So let's call this top thing just a toolbar or a top bar. I think that would be a better better term for it. So all these things: file, edit, view, navigate, code, refactor, and this basically this bar which spans from the left of the window to the right of the window. This top thing is known as the menu bar. So if you remove all these file, edit, view, and all these things, what remains is an empty menu bar at the top. Then all these things like file, edit, view, these are called as sub menus. So we have a menu bar, and inside the menu bar we have these sub menus, and when we click on one of these sub menus, we get a cascading menu or a drop down menu. Or the cascading term is a much more better term, and we'll also be using this term in the coming minutes. So let's recap. So this top bar is the menu bar. This file, edit, view, navigate, these things are sub menus. And when I click on one of these sub menus, for example, edit sub menu, it gives us a drop down menu or a cascading menu. So just to be clear, I have created this image using my awesome Photoshop Paint, MS Paint skills, not Photoshop skills. So this bar at the top is a menu bar. These items like file, edit, run are sub menus, and when you click on the sub menu, it gives us a drop down menu or a cascade menu. Make sure you remember the term cascade. All right, so I'll just close it down. All right, just minimize it for right now. So the first thing that we need to do to create a menu bar is use a thing known as the menu function. So what we'll do is actually let's start it from the top because the menu bar is at the top. So I just want to start it at the top. So I'm just going to comment create the menu bar, and that is very easy. We just create a variable and let's call it menu bar. It's just a variable name, so you can name it anything you want, but if you are following along, make sure you name it menu bar. And then we are going to use this function known as menu. And where do we want this menu to appear? We want this menu to appear in a root window. All right, so we have created our empty menu bar right now, but don't execute this thing because it's not going to work. It needs everything together to work, but just understand that this first line is actually creating this empty top menu bar that is over here. It hasn't created these sub menus yet. It has just created this top menu bar. All right, The second thing we need to do is actually configure this menu bar. So for that, I'm just going to write root.config, and inside this we have to write menu bar. So what this is doing is configuring this menu bar. So why do we need configuring a menu bar? So because there are two reasons. There are two main reasons. First reason is that we want this menu bar to be fixed at top, because let's be honest here, it's a top bar, right? It needs to be at the top. Doesn't matter what happens to the Tkinter window or whatever happens to our software, this bar always needs to be at the top. So that's one of the functions of this root.config. The second function is that we are making the menu bar get ready to receive these sub menus over here, like view and navigate. All right, so first function, make sure it sticks to the top. Second function, it gets ready, the menu bar gets ready to receive these sub menus. All right, the second step is actually to create these sub menus. How do we do that? Let me just add a comment, create the sub menu. So to do that, that's pretty easy. Just create a variable. We're just gonna call it sub menu, and then we are going to use the function again of menu, and inside this we are just going to write the menu bar. So what this is doing is it's saying let's create a sub menu, and we're going to use the menu function again because it's inside Tkinter, and Tkinter automatically understands what we are talking about. When we are talking about the menu bar, it understands that we are talking about this top bar, and when we create this sub menu, it understands that we are talking about these file, edit, view sub menu bars. Not sub menu bars, just sub menu options, because we are giving it different kind of values inside its function. So that is how it differentiates. Over here we are giving it root, and over here we are giving it a menu bar. So that is how it's able to differentiate between a menu bar and a sub menu. So we have created the sub menu right now, but we haven't added any of these items. So let's actually add like file. Let's actually add file. So for that we are going to write menu bar dot add command, and then to give it the text of file, I'm just going to write a label equals to, and then file, and then we are just going to write menu equals to sub menu. So what this line does is, actually I've made a mistake. This is not and underscore command, it is add underscore cascade, and in this root.config it should be menu equals to menu bar. All right, let me just recap it a little bit. So root.config makes sure that the menu is at the top, and it gets ready to receive the sub menus like file, edit, view, etc. It requires a parameter, and it's known as the menu equals to menu bar. If you don't give it the parameter, it doesn't understand what we are talking about. All right, so and over here it's not add underscore command, we'll get into that later. It's actually add underscore cascade, because if you remember these drop down menus that we were talking about, these are also known as cascade menus. So it gets ready and it creates this this file cascade menu, and after that we need to add stuff like new project and new scratch file. We can do that using the add underscore command. So over here we are just going to write sub menu dot add underscore command. All right, one thing I want you to notice is that over here we have used menu bar dot add cascade because we wanted to add file and edit inside the menu bar. Now we want to add stuff inside the sub menu bar, that is the sub menu. So that's why we are writing sub menu dot add command, and then we're going to type in label equals to new project. So we'll just write label equals to let's write new project just to replicate what PyCharm has done. After that we'll just change it, and then menu. Actually it doesn't require the second parameter, so this should be more than enough. You can put in the command parameter, this command equals to, but we'll do that later. For right now this is more than enough. Yeah, so we have added the sub menu, and then we did the add cascade function, and then we created a sub menu dot add command of new project. Let's just copy and paste it again over here, and let's we'll just call it new, because in PyCharm also is new project and then new. And now let's run this main.py file and see what's up. So as you can see, now we have this top bar which says file, and when we click on file, it gives us a new project and new. Obviously when we click on it, nothing is going to happen because we haven't put in any commands. And there's also this dashed line which we are going to remove. It doesn't look good. So yeah, we have to do a couple of things, but before that I just want to change it a little bit. Instead of new project, we're just going to write open, and then we'll just write exit over here. Alright, so let's just recap what's happening over here so that I can make sure that you understand what's up. Alright, so the first thing we did was create the menu bar, the empty menu bar at the top using this menu function, and then we wrote root.config. The function of root.config is to make sure that this bar is at the top and it's getting ready to receive the submenus, and then it gets a parameter of menu equal to. So it's basically asking what kind of menu do you want to stick at the top. We want this menu bar variable that we have created using this function to be stuck at the top. That's why where this the first parameter of menu equals to comes in. And the second line says create the submenu. Basically start creating this file, edit, view, navigate and stuff. So we created this variable called submenu, and then we used again this menu function. And you don't need to worry about how does menu differentiate between these two. It basically differentiates using this parameter of menu equals to, and we have already given it a menu bar, and then we gave it something else which without this menu equals to. So that's how it's able to differentiate between these two, because here we are giving it the root parameter and here we are giving it the menu bar parameter. Alright, then we wanted to add this file over here inside the menu bar. That's why we wrote menu bar.add cascade, give it a file, and it's a submenu, so that's why we wrote menu equals to submenu. And then we wanted inside this submenu to add these commands like new project, new, open and stuff like that. So that's why we wrote add underscore command label equals to open, and then label equals to exit, which we are going to do in a sec how to execute that. So let's run this main file and see what's up. So now whenever we click on this file, we can see that there is this open and then there is this exit. Now one last thing before I end this day 8 video, because I think this video has already become pretty long, but let's remove this dashed line. Alright, how do we do that? Alright, so for that we have to go up and we have to go back to the time we created the sub menu bar, and here we are going to write this parameter called tear off equals to 0. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's run it again, and when we go to file this time, as you can see, there's no dashed thing at the top. So yeah, our top bar looks a little bit better from the last time. Let's just add one more submenu over here. Let's call it help. So I'm just going to just copy and paste all of this again. We don't need to do it all this stuff again. We can just write, instead of file, just write help, and let's write about us. Alright, this looks good. Let's run this main.py file. Alright, so we have file, the submenu bar, and we have the help submenu bar, and inside this we have this add underscore command cascade drop down menus. Alright, so in the next video, I think tomorrow we are going to execute, because we have discussed a lot of complicated stuff. So next video I'm going to, that is day 9, I'm going to keep it a little bit more easier. I'm just going to create this about us functionality, and maybe also implement this exit functionality. But yeah, we'll see about that tomorrow, and yeah, on day 9. So I'll see you over there in the next video.